وكفى ثم الصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى وبعد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Just a quick reminder from what we have just recited from Surah Al-Baqarah, where the Most High said, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا وَمَاتُوا وَهُمْ كُفَّارٌ أُولَٰئِكَ عَلَيْهِمْ لَعْنَةُ اللَّهِ وَالْمَلَائِكَةِ وَالنَّاسِ أَجْمَعِينَ. Said indeed, those who disbelieve in Allah and then die while they are disbelievers, on these people there will be the curse of Allah the Almighty, likewise the curse of the angels, and likewise the people in general. This is telling you how serious disbelief is. And if the curse of Allah the Almighty is on you, then that means you are distanced from the mercy of Allah the Almighty. That is why Shaitan is al-la'in. Shaitan is al-la'in because Allah has distanced him from his mercy. And of course, the greatest mercy of Allah the Almighty is Jannah, which means the greatest punishment will be the hellfire. So if you are distanced from the mercy of Allah the Almighty, then that means you will end up in the hellfire. This is the reason why the Most High said afterwards, Khalidina fiha, meaning they will abide therein forever, which is the fire of hell. La yukhaffafu anhum al-adhab. The punishment will not be lightened on them. Because in another surah, as Allah the Almighty mentioned in Surah Al-Ghafir, they will ask that the punishment should be lightened for them just for a day. يُخَفِّفْ عَنَّا يَوْمًا مِنَ الْعَذَابِ. And it will not be lightened on them just for a day. So here the Most High said the punishment will not be lightened on them, and the punishment will not be delayed on them. We ask Allah the Almighty to keep us upon faith and to take our spirit upon Iman. Ameen. Because the opposite is the believers. Here the Most High said, Inna rahmatullahi qareebun min al-muhsinin. That the mercy of Allah the Almighty is near to those who are believers, who are sincere in their act of worship. And Allah the Almighty also mentioned that the angels make dua for the believers. The prophets make dua for the believers. Nuh make dua for the believers. Ibrahim make dua for the believers. Rabbik firli wali walidayya walil mu'minina yawma yakumul yawma yakumul hisab. Rabbik firli walil mu'minina walil mu'minat. Right? So all the angels, the believers, the prophets make dua for the believers. So you have to be grateful to Allah the Almighty for guiding you to Islam, making you to be among those who wake up and leave the comfort of their beds to come to this place and pray. We thank Allah the Almighty for that. He the Most High mentioned afterwards saying, Wa ilahukum ilahun wahid. And indeed your Lord, your deity is one deity. La ilaha illahu. None has the right to be worshipped but He alone. Huwa ar-Rahmanu ar-Rahim. He is the most gracious, the most merciful. Our noble scholar Imaam al-Qurtubi said, when this verse was revealed, the kuffar of Quraysh said, who is Allah? You keep saying our Lord is one Lord, our deity is one deity. What indicate on that? What are the signs that He the Most High mentioned afterwards? Inna fi khalqi samawati wal ard. Indeed, in the creation of the heavens and the earth. And if you read the Quran, you will come across many verses where He the Most High repeats that the creation of the heavens and the earth are greatest signs indicating the existence of Allah, indicating His oneness, indicating His ability to do all things, which means we should ponder more over the signs of the heavens and the earth. And from the signs that indicate that the heavens are from the greatest signs of Allah the Almighty are the moving clouds, you know, the billions of galaxies, the stars, the satellites, the moon, the sun, all these that Allah the Almighty beautified the lower heavens with, and how the heavens stand without any pillar holding them. All these are greatest signs that indicate the existence of Allah the Almighty. Besides what Allah the Almighty informed us about the angels that are in the heavens, the kursi, which is the stool of Allah the Almighty, that is more spacious than the heavens and the earth. The arsh of Allah the Almighty, that is more spacious than the kursi, the heavens and the earth. All these are in the heavens, indicating the existence of Allah and the oneness of Allah. And the earth, which is also one of the greatest signs of Allah the Almighty, from the signs of the earth, that indicate the oneness of Allah in its existence are the oceans, for example, and the number of species that are in the ocean, the waves of the ocean, and the trees that Allah the Almighty, placed on this earth, the plants of different kinds, vegetables of different kinds, fruits of different kinds that come in different color, different taste, and different smell. All kinds of animals that Allah the Almighty placed on this earth. Some of them crawl on their bellies, some walk on 2 legs, some on 4, some on 8. Allah the Almighty made some of them to be terrestrials, meaning they only survive on earth, and some He made them aquatic, meaning they only survive in water, and some He made them amphibians, they're able to survive in both water and land. All these are signs indicating the existence of Allah the Almighty. He made some of these animals carnivores, meaning they only survive off meat, and He equipped them with what they need to be able to live in their ecosystem. For example, the lions, He gave them, compacted claws, sharp canines to be able to hunt their prey. And He made some of them herbivores. They only survive on herbs and plants, like horses, donkeys, to the end. And some He made them omnivores. They are able to survive on both herbs and meat. All these are from the signs of the earth indicating the oneness of Allah the Almighty. So here the Messiah said, وَالْفُلْكِ الَّتِي تَجْرِي فِي الْبَحْرِ بِمَا يَنْفَعُ النَّاسِ. And the boat and the ship that sail in the sea, carrying tons of stuff for us, and all is for the benefit of human being. وَمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مِنْ مَاءٍ فَأَحْيَا بِهِ الْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا. And the rain that Allah the Almighty caused to fall from the sky, causing the earth to revive after being dead. All this indicate the signs and the oneness of Allah the Almighty. Here the Most High said, وَبَثَّ فِيهَا مِن كُلِّ دَابَّةٍ. And He spread on the earth all kinds of animals. وَتَصْرِيفُ الرِّيَاحِ. And the circulation of the air. If there is no air, there is no motion. That's why He the Most High said, إِن يَشَأْ يُسْكِنِ الرِّيحَ فَيَضْلَلْنَ رَوَاكِدَ عَلَى ظَهْرِ. If Allah the Almighty wills, He will hold the wind. So as a result, we will remain stranded in the sea. The boat will not move without air. Airplane will not be able to fly without air. Even our cars, if there is no air in the tire, it will not be able to move. So all these, Allah the Almighty is reminding us of these signs to ponder over them in order to know Him. He the Most High said, وَالسَّحَابِ الْمُسَخَّرِ بَيْنَ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ. And the moving clouds that are between the heavens and the earth. And if we fly in the airplane, when the plane went further up, you look down, you see clouds beneath you. And you look up, you see clouds above you. All these are signs indicating the existence of Allah the Almighty, but only for those who use their brain and ponder. That is what the Messiah said afterwards, إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَعْقِلُونَ. In that are signs, but for who? For people who ponder and who uses their brain, the faculty of brain that Allah the Almighty gave them. So we ask Allah the Almighty to make us amongst those who utilize the faculty of brain, which Allah the Almighty gave them to ponder over these things in order to know Allah the Almighty. If you ponder over these things, you will know the greatness of Allah the Almighty. You will know His ability to do all things. And if you know that, then you will love Allah. If you love Allah, you will submit to His will. You will yield to His commands, and you will single Him out alone with worship. So we ask Allah the Almighty again to make us amongst those who utilize their senses to ponder over these things. Ameen. And I'm asking myself and advising all of you to ponder over these verses as you go home. Take the Quran, read it. Once you walk out, just raise your head up and look in the sky and ponder over these things. Because when the Prophet ﷺ recited the verses in Surah Ali Imran, "Inna fi khalqi samawati wal ard," indeed in the creation of the heavens and the earth, وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ, in the alternation of the day and night, لَآيَاتٍ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ, are signs for men of understanding. Who are they? He said, الَّذِينَ يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا. They are those who remember Allah while standing, they remember Allah while sitting, they remember Allah while lying on their sides, وَيَتَفَكَّرُونَ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, and they ponder in the creation of the heavens and the earth. What do they say? رَبَّنَا مَا خَلَقْتَ هَذَا بَاطِلًا. O our Lord, indeed you have not created these things in vain. Subhanak, glory be to you. فَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ, grant us protection from the punishment of the hellfire. When the Prophet recited these verses, he said, وَيْلٌ لِمَنْ قَرَأَهَا وَلَمْ يَتَدَبَّرْهَا. Woe to the one who read them but did not ponder over them. So we ask Allah the Almighty again to make us amongst those who ponder over these things in order to know Him. Ameen. Wa jazakumullahu khayran. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum.